Honors 202 class and Dr. Mainland. This is my news article presentation. The article I chose was published by NPR on November 6th of 2020 and is titled, "In Historic Move, Colorado Voters Decide to Reintroduce Gray Wolves." So this was the first time ever that a wildlife project was decided upon by the people through a vote rather than the federal government, because typically a state has to go to the federal government, to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, and ask for permission to complete a project such as the reintroduction of a species. This takes a lot of time and effort because there's such a lot of bureaucracy involved, especially with the recent move by the Trump administration to take gray wolves off the endangered species list, making this case a lot more pressing because the federal government was a lot less likely to pass a project for a species that they don't consider endangered anymore. So this proposition passed in Colorado in this election by only half a percentage point because there were a lot of opposers to people voting on such a big wildlife decision. There's a lot of people who said that this decision should be left to the experts who understand biology and ecology and the balance of an ecosystem, rather than people who just vote based off of usually personal convenience, especially in a democratic state such as Colorado, where the urban areas are mainly Democratic and are more likely to vote for the reintroduction of the wolf species. However, they are the least impacted by this decision. So the people in the rural areas are less likely to want gray wolves to be reintroduced due to the fact that they actually are the ones who have to deal with the wolves. But there are less people there, so their vote counts a little less frequently than urban areas. So that's one reason why some people have opposed what they call ballot box biology. Another reason is that when the federal government is bypassed, that means they're completely bypassed. There's no federal funding that they receive to complete the project. So Colorado currently, they have to find $5.7 million over the next 8 years to complete the project. So that's another reason why people were opposed to this method of voting. However, either way, this is a historic moment because it is a new method of wildlife conservation, and we don't know how this will turn out. And I guess if it turns out positively, there might be an increase in ballot box biology movements such as this, where the federal government is completely bypassed, which could be good because it would speed it up. However, there is the concern of experts versus normal citizens. So I chose this article because I'm very interested in the environment, but I don't really know much about ecosystems and the balance and endangered species and all that. So I thought this article would be super interesting to research. And I also came into the article thinking that I would greatly support the voting of on a wildlife project such as this, because as I previously mentioned, compassion for the animals and for the environment, it seems like the best decision. However, after reading the article, I realized that there could be a lot of problems that may come from this decision, that we just have to wait and see whether or not it will be a good thing or not. And so I'm excited to see the outcomes of this, and I hope it works. So a similarity I saw between this article and one of our works is between Oryx and crake, and because of the genetic engineering that Oryx and crake deals with, which is kind of similar. It's not completely similar, but it's kind of similar to how people have the ability to reintroduce a species into the environment and control their population, which I just think is kind of crazy, that we have the ability to do things that will severely harm our environment, but also we can reverse some of these changes. We can overhunt, but then we can also reintroduce the species. And I think this type of scenario is similar to the ethics in Oryx and crake, and whether or not humans should have the authority to do something like this. And yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys have a good day.